Portland, Oregon. A city once defined by its balance, urban energy and natural serenity, artistic rebellion, and communal warmth. But beneath the iconic bridges and tree-lined neighborhoods, a profound unraveling is taking place. Today, Portland is facing a moral and humanitarian reckoning. Homelessness is no longer an issue that quietly lingers in the shadows. It's a crisis spilling into every corner of the city, reshaping the landscape and challenging the soul of a place once admired for its progressiveness. Walk a few blocks from the famed food cart pods or the Rose Test Garden, and the contrast is startling. Blue tarps flap in the wind beneath underpasses. People sleep against the cold concrete of downtown storefronts. Once pristine parks now bear the scars of survival. Scattered belongings, makeshift shelters, and silence that speaks volumes. This isn't just a housing crisis. This is a human crisis. To understand how Portland arrived at this precipice, we have to start with the ground beneath our feet. Housing. Over the past decade, the city has experienced a dramatic shift in affordability. In 2010, the average rent for a two-bedroom apartment hovered around $1,000. By 2024, that number has nearly doubled. It's a simple equation: rising costs, stagnant wages, and a dangerous shortage of affordable units. And it's pushing thousands out of their homes and into the streets. But behind every statistic is a person. And behind every person, a story. Meet Anthony. He's 46, a former chef who lost his job during the pandemic. He had a one-bedroom apartment in northeast Portland for over 8 years. But when his restaurant shut down and unemployment benefits ran out, the savings dwindled fast. Within months, he found himself living in his car, then on a park bench, and finally, in a tent along the Willamette River. "I used to feed people," he says. "Now I have to ask for food." Anthony's not an outlier. He's part of a growing demographic of Portland's newly unhoused, people with work histories, education, families, people who never thought it would happen to them. A 2023 study by Portland State University found that over 35% of the city's homeless population is employed in some capacity. They stock shelves at grocery stores. They deliver your takeout. They work long hours and still sleep in cars, shelters, or on sidewalks. Consider Emma, a preschool teacher. She makes just over $36,000 a year, enough to scrape by, but not nearly enough to afford Portland's average rental prices. After a rent hike forced her out of her studio, she's been staying in a shelter with her 5-year-old son, hoping for permanent housing that never seems to come. For parents like Emma, the cost of Portland's affordability crisis isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in childhoods interrupted, education lost, trauma carried too early. In 2024, an estimated 6,500 young people under 24 experienced homelessness in Multnomah County. That's nearly the size of an entire high school. Many are couch surfing, others aging out of foster care with nowhere to go. Too many are simply invisible. Some come from broken homes, others fled abusive situations. Many just couldn't afford the skyrocketing costs of independence. These are not delinquents or dropouts. These are Portland's children, cast adrift in a system that's too overwhelmed to catch them. At the core of this crisis is a simple yet devastating truth. Portland doesn't have enough places for people to live. The city needs tens of thousands of affordable units, yet construction lags far behind the need. Zoning restrictions, rising construction costs, and a sluggish bureaucracy have made meaningful progress achingly slow. Even for those with housing vouchers or government assistance, the reality is bleak. Landlords often refuse to rent to voucher holders, and the few who do are swamped with applicants. It's a bottleneck that chokes any real opportunity before it begins. Then there's the shelter system, intended as a safety net, but increasingly threadbare. In 2023, Portland's estimated need for shelter beds was over 35,000. The actual number of beds? Barely 20,000. The result is predictable. People sleep outside. Not by choice, but because there's simply nowhere else to go. And once someone is on the streets, the obstacles multiply. It becomes harder to hold a job, harder to stay healthy, harder to access mental health services or addiction treatment. It's a cycle Portland has yet to find a way to break. Mental health plays a huge role in this crisis. Oregon consistently ranks among the worst in the nation for access to mental health care. Budget cuts over decades have closed psychiatric hospitals and community clinics alike. Today, many who need treatment end up on the streets or in jail. There's also the rise of fentanyl. Cheap, potent, and deadly, it's ravaging unhoused communities. Outreach workers describe a sharp uptick in overdoses, sometimes daily. The city hands out Narcan, but it's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Despite Portland's image as a compassionate, progressive place, many of its systems are fractured. Social services often work in isolation. Shelters have different rules, different paperwork, different restrictions. For someone just trying to survive, navigating that maze is next to impossible. There are efforts being made, tiny homes, sanctioned camps, new housing initiatives, but progress is slow, and the need is growing faster than the solutions. Business owners are frustrated, residents are scared, and unhoused Portlanders? They feel forgotten. We spoke with Maria, a 29-year-old who's been living near the Steel Bridge for nearly 2 years. She said something that still echoes. It's not that people hate us. It's that they don't see us anymore. And maybe that's the heart of it. This isn't just about tents or trash or safety. This is about visibility. About the people Portland used to embrace. The dreamers, the workers, the helpers, now rendered invisible by a system that no longer works for them. Portland isn't just losing control of its streets. It's losing its promise. The promise of community. The promise of opportunity. The promise that if you work hard, you'll be okay. That promise is broken. And every day, more Portlanders fall through the cracks it left behind. So, where do we go from here? It starts with acknowledging the full scope of the crisis, not just as a policy issue, but a human one. It means investing in housing that people can actually afford, funding mental health care like lives depend on it, because they do, streamlining social services to make them navigable, not insurmountable, and listening, really listening, to those who live this crisis every single day. Because the longer we treat homelessness as someone else's problem, the further we get from solving it. Portland was once a symbol of what a city could be: creative, inclusive, hopeful. It still can be, but only if it remembers who it's leaving behind.